If I had to start over with any local service-based business and they handed me $1,000 and said, hey, you need to turn this into $10, $12, $15,000, here's exactly how I would do that. Now, this is something I'm very familiar with, having done this myself with my own business, turning less than $1,000 into, $10, $12, $13,000, as well as numerous other service-based businesses I've been able to work with. So in this video, we'll break down exactly where I would spend every single dollar, why, and how it's actually going to lead to the results that you are looking for. So the first $250 that I would spend would be building the base and building the foundation. Now, we can obviously start running ads, we can start, getting some traction, but if we get that traction, where are they going to? And is it going to look professional? So for example, say we're running Google ads or we're running Facebook ads and they go to our page or they go to our Google business profile and there's 0 views, or our website is shitty, or we have absolutely no content on social media, those ads aren't going to convert as much. So we need to focus on building that foundation. So when we do run ads, the results are going to multiply. So the very first thing that we'd be focused on is setting up our Google business profile, making sure we're optimizing that. Now, you guys can do this for free, or you guys can obviously have somebody help you a little bit with that. I think you guys can figure it out yourself. But then the next part is obviously the SEO as well as the reviews. The more reviews that you guys have, the more you're going to build trust. You're driving traffic, people are going to look you up. If you have 2 reviews or you have 50, that's going to make a very big difference whether that person that saw your ad is actually going to convert. When they can see, 50, 100 high quality reviews, they're going to be a lot more enticed and, have a lot more trust to go through and actually, message you or whatever your call to action may be. So you can use some of this $250 to incentivize getting reviews. Now, you can do this in a multitude of different ways. One of the ways that I have been able to use this is we get merchandise for our business. So also it's a promotion, you know what I mean? Okay, hey, we'll give you a free shirt, we'll give you a free sweatshirt, pants, whatever, if you're able to give us a great review. Now, the key to this too is we want more detailed reviews. Just giving a 5-star review and them actually, dropping a comment on why your service is good, that's going to make a very big difference in terms of the SEO side of things as well as the AI SEO. Now, this is obviously going to be predicated on you having a good service, you actually delivering results, and then you actually having clients. But if you haven't already done this and optimizing this process, that is exactly where I would spend that first $250. Now, you can also use that, maybe a little bit of that money, to optimize your social media pages. So maybe you start creating a little bit more professional content. You pay maybe $100, $150 for an editor to make, maybe 6, 9 clean videos. So when people do go to your page, it looks clean, it looks professional, it looks high quality. The way that I think about this is like a virtual business card. So when you give somebody a business card, they're going to look at it, they're going to somewhat judge, okay, how does this business card look? Does it look professional? Does it look good? Even if it's just subconscious, same thing when they go to your social media. If it looks cleaner, if it looks more professional, audio is good, the editing is good, they're just immediately going to judge you as more professional as opposed to if it's just very shitty content or you have nothing at all. Now, from there, I would start to spend around $100 on gaining local traction. This could be handing out flyers, or this could even be, getting some placements in certain articles. Maybe it's a local influencer who has maybe a couple thousand followers, you have maybe a couple hundred, you pay them $25, $50 to repost you. Or again, like I said, the articles in a local newspaper, if you're able to get some backlinks to your site, this is also going to help your SEO. Maybe this is getting business cards and going, into multiple different businesses, building those connections, dropping those business cards. This is just a good way to, kind of go on the back of what we're doing and building the online presence to now building that in-person presence. So like I said, that could be, getting sponsored posts in Facebook groups, social media pages, small newspapers, even maybe running an event locally about what you do, build those connections. Again, just building traction on the actual ground with physical connections as opposed to just the online side of things. Now, next, I would spend about $150 building out a lead magnet and then also marketing this. So this is going to be great to start to build some leads. Again, not everyone that you're going to run ads to or you're going to meet is going to be ready to buy from you that day. Maybe it's going to be a week, maybe it's going to be 3 months down the road. But when you can get that lead and then you can nurture that lead, keep educating them, keep them in the loop, keep you top of mind, eventually when they do need that service, they will reach out to you. So depending on what your service is, this may be a free PDF, this may be a free 7-day trial, this may be a free audit. So the way that you're going to spend your money is you're going to create your free product, like I said, depending on what it is. Then you can use that money to use maybe a email software, and then also spend a little bit of money on the ad side of things to start driving some traffic to it. Now, this is something I've been able to do both online and in person. Online, generating over 1,800 leads, turning that into $25,000 just on the online side of things. And then in terms of, the free lead magnet was our, free trial session. We've spent thousands and thousands on that, generated hundreds of thousands on the back end of that. Now, the other good thing that you can do with this is you're gathering data. So you're starting to figure out, okay, what do our customers want? What do people who would be our ideal customers, what are they attracted to? What do they want? What problems are they having? And you can solve a small problem that they are having. So maybe it's, like I said, the PDF, fixing a small problem, or maybe you're allowing them to come in, get a 7-day free trial, kind of get a taste of what your product is, is, how you guys operate, the quality that you guys bring, and then that's going to incentivize them to actually start to pay down the road. So the way you would probably split this up, maybe $50 on the software side of things, $100 on the ad side of things. And again, we're testing and we're getting data. Now, the big chunk of where our money is going to be spent, now that we've built the foundation, now that we've got some traction, is going to be on Facebook ads. You can do Google ads. I think Facebook and Instagram ads are going to hit a lot more effectively, and you can test a lot more and then really figure out which one works and then run with that one. Now, like I was saying, the reason why we're going to do this last is because we have that foundation, we have more data. Now we need to go back to the drawing board and create an offer that is so good that is going to drive traffic. The problem that most people have when they run Facebook ads, they run Instagram ads, they have a very weak offer. They haven't really thought through the process of, okay, how am I going to drive traffic to this? How am I going to get them in the door? And how am I going to maximize revenue on maybe the back end from this? So they end up spending a bunch of money. They create a very mid social media ad. They spend some money on it, doesn't really hit, doesn't really work. They maybe break even on it and they just say, oh, it doesn't work, and then they're done. So now you're left in a spot where you have to rely on word of mouth. You have to rely on just organic traffic because you haven't mastered paid ads. Now, this is something that I made a video on as well, how I turned $450 into over $11,200, but I will kind of break down and summarize how you guys can create this offer and then how you're going to run your ad. So number one is you want to figure out what are your clients' pain points. That's why that free, lead magnet is so important, because we can get a lot of data. We can start to ask questions. When we're testing those ads, we can figure out maybe which one of the 3 pain points is their biggest, drive some traffic to that. Now we know, okay, hey, we really want to solve this problem. So maybe you're creating an offer that includes, 3 different pain points, where most services, they satisfy one, but we want to, get as many of those in one shot as we possibly can. Now, number 2 is going to be renaming that, offer something a lot more attractive. So maybe you're a landscaping company and you say, oh, we do landscaping. That doesn't sound very attractive when you say, oh, complete home makeover or something like that. So all we're really trying to do with the name of our offer is really speak to the emotion and really break through the noise of all of the very bland and, boring offers that are out there. And then now when we're actually getting to, maybe the landing page, maybe the copy, maybe the video of the ad, we want to speak to their pain points, and then we want to speak to solving that problem, not necessarily the benefits. That's where people will be like, oh, we do, landscaping, we'll come and cut your grass. Nobody cares about that. They want to see a beautiful lawn. That is what they're thinking of, not, oh, I want someone to cut my grass. Or maybe you're a physical therapist. It's like, oh, we'll stretch you out, we'll do this. It's like, no, I want to leave pain-free. That, like, we want to speak to the emotions. We want to speak to solving the problem, not really the benefits in between. And then with that, we're going to create, a high engaging video that is going to capture attention, that is going to convert. And then we know, okay, what are we going to do on the back end to increase this revenue? So how are we going to get each customer to spend more? What is the customer journey through this ad? They come in, they may get a free trial, then they sign up for this, then we're going to upsell them on this on the back end. So you just need to know your customer journey, and you have to have that dialed in before you start running the ad. Now, once you do run the ad, maybe you have to rent out a space and you run a free event, you get a bunch of different people in there, you're able to spread the word about your business. We want to test maybe the first $100. So maybe first week we spend $10 on an image ad, $10 on this video ad, $10 on this one, let them run for a couple days, see which one does the best. Then we're going to put all that money back behind the one that is converting and working. So in reality, the way that you should be looking at this ad, and the way that most people do it, which is why they do it wrong, is they focus completely on just, hey, maybe the targeting is the most important piece, especially with AI and where Meta is right now. That's almost the least important part. The 50-60% of it is your offer. That in offer, your headline, your copy, that is 60% of your ad. But most people, they spend maybe 10%, figuring out the offer, what they're, how they're going to promote it. And then they focus all their energy on the actual ad itself. So focus 60% on the offer, the headline, the copy, then maybe another 20-30% on this video aspect of it. And then the last 10% on the targeting aspect. That's the easy part. Now, the best part with this is going to be a flywheel, right? You have your base, you have your social media, you have your Google business profile, you're getting reviews, you're getting leads that are going to generate you business down the road, maybe not today. Then you're starting to build yourself in the local communities. You're getting a little bit of traction there. That's a little bit slower. Then we have the paid ads, which is going to be a lot quicker. And then that's going to generate more reviews. That's going to generate more referrals. That's going to build your, in-person connections that you have. And slowly but surely, it's a flywheel that it's going to generate enough money for allow you to do it again the next month and the next month and the next month. And you're just going to keep going and keep making more and more money until eventually you hit a new problem where it's okay, I need to hire people, I need to add a new location, whatever it may be. But if I was to spend $1,000 for any local business, this is basically how I would do it. This is how I have done it in the past with multiple people. And it has seen great results, especially when you can iterate, you can learn, change things, adapt with times, and just keep reinvesting back into the business. That's how you're ultimately going to grow it for the long term. So if this is something you want me to come into your business and help you do, so you don't have to do all this work yourself, feel free, send me a message, drop a comment, and we'll get in touch and we'll schedule something soon. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next one soon. Peace.